So my research looks at the role of tourism as an asset for economic development and poverty alleviation in Eritrea. Eritrea is a small developing country in Northeast Africa and also happens to be where I'm from. However, before we really get into this, let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you might be a little bit skeptical about the merits of my thesis. Hold on to those thoughts as I break down some facts for you. You see, in today's global economy, the travel and tourism industry is one of the world's largest exports. In 2015 alone, the sector generated $1.5 trillion in revenue. That's about $4 billion a day. Furthermore, the UN estimates that by 2030, we will exceed 1.8 billion tourists worldwide, and 57% of those tourists will be traveling to a developing country. Studies show that tourism is already having a profound effect in emerging economies. Tourism is generating jobs, increasing household incomes, and having a dynamic impact that diversifies the overall economy. In recognition of tourism's potential to contribute to the eradication of poverty, the UN has included tourism-specific targets in 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals. So at this point, some of the more compassionate people in the room are starting to connect the dots between tourism and poverty alleviation, and they're asking themselves a very important question, and that is, so does this mean I can help the world's poor by spending vacation money on myself? I hear you, and the answer is a solid maybe. You see, this is where my research comes in, because contrary to what some politicians might tell you, tourism, like many other industries, doesn't automatically benefit the poor through some magical trickle-down effect from the haves to the have-nots. My research looks at 2 coastal destinations in Eritrea to understand what is actually needed to develop a sustainable tourism industry that equitably benefits local communities. We surveyed over 400 community members to map out the role and the potential that tourism can have in improving their socioeconomic status. Furthermore, we also surveyed over 200 visitors and private sector stakeholders to understand what is needed to develop a competitive tourism industry that generates enough revenues to benefit the local community. By triangulating these data points, we are able to assess how government, private sector, and the international community can work together to develop a sustainable tourism industry that promotes economic development and poverty alleviation for communities in developing countries like my Eritrea. However, my research also benefits you, because next time you feel so compelled to help the poor in Africa, all you might have to do is pack your bags and travel. Thank you very much.